Hey everyone, meteorologist Aaron Tuttle here with you, and it is time to talk about the next winter storm that's coming on in. So I want to go ahead and get busy with that. I know a lot of you have a lot of questions. First off, is this going to be a big ice storm? Is it going to be crippling? Is it going to be catastrophic? Is it Armageddon? All that stuff. So I've been answering a few of the questions throughout the day, but I figured I'd just save it all for a Facebook Live here this evening. So I appreciate you joining me. I'm going to give you all the details on what you can expect as our next winter storm approaches. I want to take this opportunity, though, if you haven't tried it yet, use my weather app. It's free. It's called AT's Weather to Go. It's got winter weather forecasts on there, plus it has all my social media accounts on there, and you can actually tap into this live broadcast through that as well. And I do live coverage, like severe weather coverage as well during the spring. In that, and in this Facebook Live, it's all brought to you by Road Angel. It's embedded in the app. It is a roadside assistant, so if you get stranded on the side of the road, you break down, you're stuck in a rut, ice, snow, whatever it may be, help is on the way, just press the button. It's that easy. So I appreciate you guys trying that out as well. So with all that out of the way, let's get down to business and talk about what we can expect. So, like anything, I pretty much show you what the weather conditions are. In other words, what the computer models see. We dive into that just a little bit, and then I give you what I think is going to happen. And it's kind of just the what I give you is the foundation of what I help to build my forecast with, or what I end up coming up with. And so a lot of these things will come into play, and I'll kind of analyze each one, and then we'll kind of go from there. Well, let's go ahead and get onto the graphics here. All right, the first one is the ensemble model just showing a skew of temperatures over the next few days. And what we're looking at is the black line, which is the median line. And this is up around 70, 65, close to 70 degrees in some of these outline runs as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. And then here's Wednesday up here even warmer. So the good news is if you like warmer weather, you're going to love the next few days. It's going to be pretty toasty, I guess you'd call it, for January. But unfortunately, we're going to have to pay the price for that, as that means the pattern's changing to allow that to happen is also the same pattern that's going to allow Arctic air to plunge back in here and an upper level storm system to come in on top of it. So let's talk about that upper level storm system. This is looking at the Canadian model, and what I want to show you is the position of the upper level low. That is the key as to whether or not you're going to see ice in the form of either freezing rain or sleet, or if you're just going to see rain, or maybe if you're going to see a little bit of snow. So the center of this upper level low is right here where I've denoted the L. Let me do that again. So right about here, so really pretty much close to the Mexican state line from New Mexico and Mexico. So this particular storm system right here, with all the energy associated with it in mid-levels, is going to come around, start out here in the northwest, zip on down here, and then kick on across the state. I'll be into the Texas Panhandle kind of in this fashion. Now this is the Canadian model, and that's what its solution is. Now this solution is a little more north and a little faster than some of the other solutions, and that kind of is a key importance here. So we'll move on to the next. This is the UK Met model. So it's a European model, so it's fairly well in wintertime conditions. It has the upper level low feature system more northward over the Four Corners area, with the trough, with the trough kind of dipping down into this area here. And that will move out to the east-northeast, so quite a bit of a northern track. Now, this is the outlier. None of the other models are this far north. If that were to happen, it's a lot less of an impact for Oklahoma. The more southern the track, the more impact we have. So keep that in mind. All right, that's two. We'll go to another one here. This is the GFS model. Now, this one, it's just crazy. It's got the low, I mean, not even in Mexico anymore. This thing went down to the bay down here. And so when that happened, it really changes the outcome of the weather as far as the storm track is concerned. Let me get this back on there for you. And that one kind of like carried away, but it's not the only one that did so. So here's another view of that. It was down near the Mexican line, and then it ended up going south. It almost wants to go to Cabo, I think, is what's happening here. It wants to go down there and party. So I'm not so sure that's going to be a solution to jive home with. It would be a new trend if it did. That changes everything here. So you can see already we got three models, three different solutions in this upper level low, and where the center of it is, the location. And that is, again, the key to this whole forecast. Now here's the Navy model. It's got the upper level low. Let's see, right around, let's just do a circle highlight here. So it's down here, this little area of all this bright colors. That's the lift in the atmosphere with it. And that is in Mexico, well south of the border. So it's farther south than the Canadian is, but not nearly crazy as far south as the GFS was. So it's kind of like the median of the two. We take a look at an experimental model. It's actually north of the border just a hair. Not quite to the Four Corners area, but it's on the north side. Again, the more north it is, in general, the less impact and the less timing that we're going to have for the winter precipitation. So let's go into another one. This is kind of more of an experimental long-range model. This one, it did something really weird. It took the idea of the GFS going to Cabo to party, and it just stayed down there for a while. So that's where this guy is down here. I mean, he's way down here in southern Baja. Now, can these things happen? Sure, they can go down that far south. Do they typically? No, not unless there's a big driver for that. So I'm going to be interested to see what happens with these model trends, because we're almost 50-50 now as whether or not this thing's going south or whether it's going to stay kind of hugging the Mexican state line. So that is a look at what the difference is when you look at the upper level computer models and where the storm system is in relation to Oklahoma, because that changes our precipitation type. It can be from rain to freezing rain to sleet, snow, all that kind of stuff. Now, that's just one aspect of it. I want to show you this real quick. This is, think of this as a shortcut cheat sheet guide for winter weather forecasting. I want to explain to you why this is so difficult. You have to ask kind of a series of questions. Will there be ice introduced in the warm layer? That's down the lower levels of the atmosphere. Is it yes or no? Well, we're going to be yes. We're going to have some ice crystals developing in that area. We've got it down here at the surface with Arctic air coming in. So you kind of follow all these trends over, and you have to use different thresholds of temperature, whether or not what the wet bulb is, how much melting is going to occur, a minimum cold temperature in the layer, and then you have to look if the surface temperature is less than 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. Then in the upper levels, is it between 0 and minus 11 degrees Celsius? And if it is, voila, you get freezing rain. That's right behind my head right here. So let's, if I take this track, we'll be going like this, follow all these solutions, and we get freezing rain. And then we might also get a little bit of sleet when these criteria is met. So that's kind of an idea of what forecasters have to use, and this is all based off of computer models, and that's why 5 days out to give you the answer is quite a stretch to the T. We can give you the idea, but to give you the full answer, that's the other issue. Now you can look at this as another way. Let me close this. Okay. Alright, so this is looking at a forecast sound. This is from the GFS. I'm going to go through time here, and let me see if you can actually see this on the map. Alright, we're at, let's go Friday morning. Okay. So here's Friday morning, and let me move this up some. I'll tell you what, I'll do this. As you move through time, watch this little window right over here. Okay, this is where you factor in the temperature and the precipitation given this environment. What is it going to come down as? What form? What type? Precipitation type. And right now it's in the freezing rain category. It's all this red dots. So when you see red dots as I animate through time, you see it kind of switches over to sleet. And this is for Oklahoma City, by the way. And then it goes back to sleet, back to freezing rain. It stays freezing rain, freezing rain, freezing rain, freezing rain. Then eventually tries to go back to rain on Sunday as temperatures start to warm. So the GFS model thinks temperatures will warm a little bit on Sunday. So this is looking at a 48-hour period of winter weather. So from Friday morning is when it's going to start to basically Sunday late morning. So at least about 48 hours. And that will be mostly freezing rain and sleet. At the end, we're going to get a little bit of snow mixed in. And far southeast Oklahoma is probably going to stay just all rain. No ice for southeast Oklahoma. So this far out, why do I have confidence that we're going to have winter precipitation? Well, for one, all the models show the same storm system. They can't agree on the placement, but they all agree that it's there and it's coming our way. And the timing, roughly, is, again, from Friday morning through Sunday. We look at the ensemble runs. In other words, we take the Canadian model we looked at earlier, and we nudge it different directions, and we see how many of its members will produce the same outcome. So as we go into Friday morning, I want to show you here on the screen, and you're going to do is just focus. Again, right here in Oklahoma, for example, is one. Here's another in Oklahoma, Oklahoma, Oklahoma. Oklahoma. So in Friday morning, we've got one that's starting to produce some precipitation. This one really kind of in between. Same with this one. Same with this one. But here we've already got some sleet developing here at daybreak on Friday. And that's just one little member. As we scroll down, we're going to have some dryness. Here's one that's got a little bit of sleet mixed in. I'm looking at a couple more. There's a couple with sleet here and there. But otherwise, most members are dry. So in other words, Friday morning, that's the critical time of where the precipitation should start, and it comes down to be in the form of some freezing rain and sleet initially, probably maybe a little bit more sleet, depends on how much cold air is in here at play at first before warm air advection starts to take over. As we look into Friday afternoon from this same model, every panel, looks like every one, let's see, I don't know if I missed one. Okay, I got one right here that's dry for Oklahoma. There's a second one's got some rain. But other than that, every one of these has either sleet or freezing rain. Now that is a high confidence situation. That's for Friday afternoon. On Saturday morning, same thing. All these bright colors are all across Oklahoma. Some of them are very dense. I mean, this one right here gone nuts with just nothing but freezing rain. This one actually has a little bit of snow in northwest Oklahoma. That's for Saturday morning. And this trend continues for Saturday afternoon. As we go into Sunday morning, it's still, many of these members have this winter mix, I want to say winter mix mess in the same sentence, all across Oklahoma. So that's why I'm telling you, it is going to be at least about a 48-hour window that we're going to see this winter storm affect our state. This is just the Canadian model. If we look at the GFS model, the members for it, here's Friday morning, and it's kind of the same boat. It's got a mixture of some not saying so much and others saying we've already got sleet at 6 a.m. on Friday. Now, from what the data I've looked at so far and the timing, with the system slowing down just a hair and going a little bit more south than priorly noted, I want to say the delay, the timing for Friday morning, that we'll still get probably some rain, but as far as the transition to sleet or freezing rain, I'm thinking right now to hold off closer to lunchtime. Now, whether or not that helps many people, I don't know. But keep in mind, we're also 5 days away, and this is likely going to change as far as the details like that. Now, how much sleet or freezing rain are we talking about here? Well, we can look at the GFS, and it's got these bright pinks you see on the map here around, a half inch to, 3/4 of an inch of pure freezing rain across central and east central Oklahoma, from Tulsa down to just west of McAllister and down toward Ardmore. Now, how much is that? Well, again, a quarter of an inch of ice can cause your tree limbs to kind of, a few of them break off, other ones kind of, hang down a bit. You get a half inch of ice, a lot of those are breaking off, and a lot of those trees, everything are just down to the ground. You get 3/4 of an inch of ice, you're talking about power lines coming down, because we're going to have winds gusting up around 40 miles an hour off and on throughout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as the system comes across. So with the added wind stress to the power lines, any ice accumulation over a half inch is going to cause power line problems. So several of you are going to lose power, assuming again that everything comes out as it looks today, and really as it looks since Friday. The data really hasn't changed that much since then. The models did an about face on Friday, and they've gone with it ever since. Now, sleet totals, same thing with that. We've got about half inch of sleet mixed in across east central Oklahoma, from Tulsa to the metro, Oklahoma City, back down toward Lawton. Another batch out here in western Oklahoma. So if you see these two panels, so that's this one right here is for the freezing rain, all the purple, and the orange up here is for all the sleet. You can see that the 2/3 of Oklahoma is going to be dealing with the freezing rain. I think the exception is this section right here. I think this part of Oklahoma, roughly in this area, might be the only spot that gets away of not having to deal with any winter precipitation at all. In other words, it'll be a cold rain, but it won't be as far any ice or sleet or snow. The rest of the state's going to have to deal with a mix, depending on the day, the time, the hour, all that stuff. Here's a bigger view of that case that was harder to see. Scale here on the right, close to an inch. Here, just east side of Tulsa, and don't get too specific on these amounts, because again, remember what I told you about. 48 hours is about where you really want to start latching in precipitation totals, whether that's going to be rain, ice, sleet, snow, you name it. We can go look at the Canadian model. It's been one of the aggressive ones for this. I mean, it should be. It's a winter. They make it in Canada, so you think they got a little something to do with the winter up there. It has been going up around 2 inches of ice. This is freezing rain primarily here in south central, southern, northeastern from Ardmore up toward Okmulgee in southern Tulsa County, over an inch of ice, and that stretches on down toward Dallas-Fort Worth. So Dallas-Fort Worth and west central Texas, west Texas, you guys are under the gun for this freezing rain and sleet mixture as well. You can see the hard line here that it produces. Now that's because it thinks that it's going to be cold enough at all levels of the atmosphere to produce some snow up here. Now that won't happen, I don't think, until late in the game, so maybe on Sunday, roughly is where that snow would happen. Matter of fact, here's a look at the snow line up here, and it just kind of has it stretching from Tulsa to Oklahoma City back toward Altus and points north of that. So don't pay attention to these numbers. That's just where the general snow will fall on the back side of this upper level low as it finally comes across on Sunday. And probably even a mixture of rain, maybe a little bit of sleet, central and east, as that system moves through, especially if temperatures warm up a little bit. The cold air from the system itself will help produce the snow on the backside, and so that's why they're getting some snow up there. I don't expect a whole lot in Oklahoma City, and we'll still be dealing with whatever happened for Friday and Saturday anyway, on into Sunday morning. So the other thing I want to tell you about is this is the Canadian model, which as long as it is in a line with the European model, it's a lot more weighted confidence in that direction. And the European model, which I can't show you here because of copyright issues, they don't like their data shared unless you pay a lot of money, but you can still look at it though offline. And their QPF, as far as the quantitative precipitation forecast that it produces for Friday, is anywhere from 2 to 2.5 inches. Now the difference is that 2 to 2.5 inches is from roughly this area out to here. So this is where the European differs in the rest. It actually shifts the ice freezing rain event farther to the west. So that means all the way to the Texas state line. So you guys out there in Eric, Sayre, Cordell, yeah, you're going to get inundated with ice, pure ice. We're talking freezing rain, a little bit of sleet mixed in. But that's going to be treacherous driving conditions. It'll be just bad for everybody. Now that's the European model. It has been the most aggressive, the most devastating, the most outlandish model with regards to this storm system as far as precipitation amounts and the position of the cold air and how much cold air is to work with and all that. So I say that only in all of this only to do one thing. Make yourself be aware of the situation, and two, to make alternate plans if you need to. At this point in time, that's really all you need to do. It's a good idea to use this as a time to go check your generator if you have it. Make sure you got fuel, make sure it's running. Anything you would normally do in the wintertime that you've delayed or put off, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go check it out. Now, do you need to panic and scream and run around with your head cut off? I wouldn't do you any good. Focus that anxiety somewhere else. This situation, like I said, it's today's Sunday. Friday's a long ways away. It depends on that track that upper low. Just in the positioning that I showed you of the upper level low feature that's coming in, what that does is it shifts that ice band north, south, east, west. If it shifts it, if it does too much of a change, we can get too much warm air in here, and then it's all rain across 2/3 of the state. Maybe only far western Oklahoma deals with the ice. So as far as the exact location and the exact amounts, that is not locked down in. The general trend is there, and what is going to happen is there. Just the question is the fine details. And as they say, the devil is in the details, but you're not really going to know those until we get closer to the event. And we'll be able to narrow down which part of the state will get hit the hardest versus the other part which won't get hit so hard. So in summary, if you're joining me late and you kind of skip through some of this, or if you're watching the replay, we've got a powerful winter storm coming on in starting Friday morning, lasting through Sunday afternoon. It's going to be at least, in that time frame, 48 hours of solid precipitation in the form of either rain for far southeast Oklahoma, freezing rain sleet for central Oklahoma, stretching from Oklahoma City up toward Tulsa and back down toward Ardmore. Western Oklahoma is going to deal with, more than likely, more sleet than anything, and then some snow, especially northwest Oklahoma on Sunday as the system leaves. But if a couple of the models are right, there may be a tendency to get more freezing rain mixed into that on Saturday and even Friday. So that's the deal. We're going to get all winter mix types. It's going to be across the state. It's just going to vary in the exact location. And keep in mind, a lot of these times, for whatever reason, the Arctic air in the depth of it likes to set up right along that I-44 corridor. So you could have a very sharp contrast line. You've got rain on the east side of town, for example, and you got freezing rain on the west side of town. That it could go down to that. It could be different. So you driving from your house to your neighbor's house, and there's not a problem. So it can be that fine-tuned. So if you've got flights out for Will Rogers and you've got plans to travel this weekend, you might want to start making alternate plans, get out early, whatever it may be. Even getting to the airport may be a problem on Saturday, or even maybe later in the day on Friday. And of course, if the icing is too bad, they may shut things down. I don't know. I'm not in control of that, but just out there. Wind speeds also, like I said, over 40. So if there is a significant ice accumulation of about an inch or so on the power lines, maybe even 3/4 of an inch, if the winds are strong enough, even half an inch might do some of the weaker lines. But there will be some power outages as a result of that. And that is going to be it. So that was a pretty detailed weather explanation, about 20 minutes of what's coming our way, why it's coming, how it's coming, and what you can expect. And I hope this is beneficial for you. I really do. I hope you guys enjoy this. It helps you out, helps you plan. That's why I do it. I do like helping people, and I'm just going to give you what I know, and that way you can plan accordingly. I think I touched base on everything I wanted to. And you can always share this with your friends and family. You can go back and watch it if you missed something. If you caught in the latter part, just start it back at the beginning. This will stay up on Facebook, and we'll probably do another one here or two this week as new data comes in. Now, if tomorrow evening, if it's the exact same, then there's not going to be much to tell you. I have a feeling things will kind of do a little waffling back and forth, but the general picture likely is going to be the same. And unless that significantly changes, I may tune in, say, Wednesday when we've got some closer data to the time frame, or maybe even Tuesday. So I do want to say that. I do have a few minutes, so I'm going to see if I can answer a few of your questions. And from what I understand, everybody hates my shirt. Hey, what can I say? It's my school. So I'm going to wear it proudly. Plus, it's got AT in it. So, and see, ATM for AT meteorology, or meteorologist. See, there's all kinds of play on words you can do with that. So, anyway, I'm glad you guys stayed for that. So, all right, so we got a couple of questions for you. Burn that shirt. Guys are crazy. So, Friday morning to Sunday p.m., will you update Wednesday? Denise. Yeah, like I said, I think Wednesday's going to be the day that I'll update for sure. Carrie wants to know time frame on Friday. It looks like it's going to be, as far as the ice in Oklahoma City, it might start as sleet initially, then transition to freezing rain, but it's going to be late morning, closer to the lunchtime hour, and then from that point onward, at this point in time. It could rain in the morning, but I don't think it'll be freezing. It all depends on the timing of the Arctic air and that upper level low. Because if that there's the other deal. I left this out earlier. If the upper level low is too far south, believe it or not, that allows that Arctic air to come surging more south. And that's a big difference too. You can end up with a lot more sleet and hardly any freezing rain as that system comes in farther south. I meant to point that out earlier, and I'd slipped. I got too many things in my head. So like I was saying, there's a lot of things that can happen. We get an inch of sleet, those little bitty hard pebbles, versus an inch of rain that freezes on contact. That changes the landscape of everything. You can actually drive on sleet for the most part. Sleet's not going to down power lines. Sleet's not going to cause some other issues. So again, you can hope for sleet. If we're gonna have winter weather around here, and you want to hope for something, you can do that rather than the solid ice that'll come down. Greg wants to know about Dallas. Yes, you guys have been under the gun for a little bit of sleet and freezing rain. You guys are asking if it's going to be an ice storm, and earlier on Friday, the post I put out there was the concern for an ice storm, and that still has not changed. It'll be a winter storm in general, because we're going to have, again, freezing rain, sleet, and a little bit of snow, and even some regular rain for far southeast Oklahoma. So you're going to get a mixture of everything out there. Might even see some severe weather in the far southeastern tip of the state if things line up just right. Just maybe. Otherwise, that'd be farther east from there, or south. So let's see. Dickie's giving me a shout out. You're welcome. Let's see. Sleet and snow would be good, Nicole. Hope we have electric to watch Green Bay at Dallas. I'm telling you. I'll tell you what, for the people that hated this A&M shirt, I'll wear my Dallas Cowboys shirt next. Will that make you guys feel better? So that we can agree on the team to cheer on. With the ice accumulating on the roads or just elevated surfaces? Gabe wants to know. No, unfortunately, this time of the year. Ground temps, they rebound after these systems into the lower 40s typically, but then they cool right back down to freezing as that Arctic air pushes back in, especially at night. Now here's a key in that though. Carrie wants to know any chance this happen at all. Got plans on Sunday. Carrie, my girl, you better make some alternates. There are a few things that can happen that to make this not pan out at all. But they are so remote. For them to happen, I would be flabbergasted at this point. We're this close to saying it's a done deal, just this close. And the reason why we don't is because we're 5 days away. Actually 6, I guess. Well, yeah, 5 and then 6, then 7. So that's why there's just a little bit of hesitation there. Otherwise, it looks pretty solid as far as what's coming our way. And when things are this advertised and there's that much model consistency and agreement, yeah, to ignore that is at your own peril. Let's see. So the question on the freezing rain. Oh, the freezing rain on the roads. Okay. So here's the deal. In the daytime, you're driving around. If it's freezing rain out there, in other words, it's freezing on your windshield wipers in your car, and the ground and the air temperature is 30 degrees, 31, 32, even maybe 29. The roads, other than the bridges and overpasses, are going to be fine. Usually when the temperature gets right around 27, 28, that's kind of like the magic number of where it just like that. And it turns into a whole sheet of ice, everything. Now, there's always a caveat to that, so don't be driving around like a crazy person just because your temperature in your car says 30 and you think you got a green light to go 55 or 75. That'll lead you to really bad decision making consequences. But for the most part, that's still doable. Now, there could be a situation where the freezing rain comes down so heavy, so fast at one point in time, there's not a lot of road traffic. Maybe it could freeze a little sooner. But typically the sun, believe it or not, even though you can't see it through the clouds, that solar radiation does penetrate through and does kind of help those ground temps a little bit on the roadways. Now, at nighttime, different story. Everything freezes over really quick then. So, all right. Ray says, thanks, out of here. You bet, Ray. Thanks for stopping by. Go Pack Go. All right, will Little Rock, Arkansas be affected? Yes, but by showers and storms for you guys. I don't foresee any frozen stuff. I did have somebody ask me earlier about Missouri, and matter of fact, let me put this map back up here. Clear that. So, as you can see, Missouri is also going to be seeing some ice behind my head here. So southern half of Missouri is going to be dealing with some sleet and freezing rain. So you guys that live up there, be advised. Even far southeast Kansas, far northwest Arkansas, all of you guys will be seeing some freezing rain and sleet. And if the European model is right, then everything shifts west just a hair more. Keep that in mind. But that's the general trend of things. Okay, let's see. Can you make sure to send an email to C and Norman? I missed that, but I don't know if that'd be a good idea for me. David's going to get prepared for the winter storm. You bet, David. Appreciate you stopping by. Patrice wants to know a quick recap. Patrice, want to let you know you can always watch Facebook Live over and over and over. Share with your friends. As soon as we wrap up here, it'll be available to replay. Then you can just drag the cursor to wherever you want. When I start talking about maps or whatever. It was pretty detailed, but in the short version, we've got a winter storm coming in. It'll affect the state for Friday, starting late morning, closer to lunchtime, as far as the freezing rain and sleet is concerned. And that'll last through Sunday morning, probably transition over a little bit of snow for midday Sunday in northwest Oklahoma. So it's going to be at least a 48-hour system, and we're going to mixture of rain in southeast Oklahoma. We're going to have freezing rain, sleet from central and northeast Oklahoma and southern Oklahoma. And then we're going to have a mixture of freezing rain, sleet in western Oklahoma with changeover to snow in northwest Oklahoma. So that's a mouthful, but that's all the precipitation types that we're going to expect during that period. And as far as amounts go, too early to say for sure, but several of the models that produce amounts this far out are going very heavy. And not heavy in the good sense where, you know, it's not a big deal. It's heavy as in an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches, 2.5 inches of ice. And that's not good for anybody. So we'll see. It's too early to get too locked down on that stuff, though. We'll know more about that on probably Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's see. Ed says no school for 5 days. Well, I don't know about that. Temperatures will warm some on Sunday and Monday, so a lot of the ice will melt by that period for Sunday night and Monday as well. So I don't know how that'll affect things, but we'll see what it does with the power situation. So Melissa, I just kind of answered that one. This is going to be an in and out system. Now there is another one right after that. I didn't pay much attention to it because the models keep losing it and they pick it up. If anything, it might produce a dusting of snow as it comes across. Haven't looked too much into that. Just all my focus has been on this weekend. It's really the most important right now anyway. Let's see. Joel says gig 'em. Thanks, Joel. Right back at you. So, see, I have some Aggie friends out there for you A&M haters earlier. Alan, Boomer, Sooner, man. I got no problem with the Sooners. So, and the fact that we're not even in the same division anymore is even better. So I don't have to feel guilty rooting against them. All right. Was Wichita Falls area on your IC on your map? Yes, it was. St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is a little north. It'll be a close call. Yeah, I mean, I just go ahead and put you in the risk for freezing rain and sleet. Let's see. When will this start? Ann wants to know. The freezing rain late Friday morning to around lunchtime. Fly to Dallas or drive. Let's see. On Monday, fly or drive to Dallas on Monday. I'd rather. I don't. Jessica, I don't know. Are you talking about tomorrow? Tomorrow's fine. So I don't maybe you need next month, the following Monday. That just depends on what happens out here. You don't want to be going anywhere if it's a mess. Travel plans should be reconsidered, Jessica. Yeah, just always have a backup plan. This far out, 5 days. I mean, I could come on here and tell you there's no storm system at all. The weather looks nice, and you wouldn't change any of your plans. I'll come on here and tell you, hey, got a storm system coming. It looks like it's going to do this, this, and this. Probably best to change your plans, or at least you can have a backup plan. If it were me, I would. Here's the way I look at it. I look at where we are in time. All right, is the system coming in tomorrow? No. Is it coming in Tuesday, Wednesday? No. So what that means is, okay, we got a system coming in. I got it. I know in Oklahoma things can change. Yep, it's the weather. It's fickle. Yep, got it. I'll listen to what the experts say, and I'll see which ones sounds a little bit more legitimate than others, and I'll put my attention on that. And then I'll weigh what they're saying versus what I need to be doing or what I want to do, and if I can work in a timeline for that or I need to adjust. And then I'll just have a backup plan in place. If I can't work out, if it looks like the storm's really going to happen. Now, with the situation where I'm going to have to make a decision now for 5 days from now, that's a tough call. You got to do what you got to do. You either err on the side of caution or you gamble. And I can't tell you which to do. But me, as far as looking at this data, I'm fairly confident. And this far out, that's unusual because we usually don't have this much model agreement this far out. And we look at a lot of different models. And if they're all saying the same thing, like I said earlier, to ignore that is at your own peril. Would you send schools to Friday? Reagan. If I was a school administrator, that'd be bad news. I'd be giving snow days and ice days all the time. So I can't say anything about that. Randy Quaid, come save us all. What about Corpus Christi? 2 inches of ice, you think? Magda. Oh, my goodness. Aaron, I'm going to lay out my hourly plans. Please tell me how I should reschedule. Dave, I'm on it. Put them down right here. We're going to break it down hour by hour. The next person can do it. Lubbock and Amarillo. Snow for Amarillo and Lubbock probably. Lubbock might have a little bit of mixture of sleet, freezing rain, and snow. Definitely another Walmart video. Yeah, okay, here's the deal. This Walmart video, okay, so this storm system pans out as expected, and the precipitation amounts are extremely high as expected. This is what I foresee over the next 48 hours. A run on everything, from generators to food to milk to water. I expect people to think they're going to be trapped in their home for days. So I don't think that's going to happen as far as being trapped in your home, but is going to be a problem over the weekend. You will be trapped over the weekend, and the power also might be a problem for a couple of days. Let's see. Nancy, will the FAA be closed? I hope so. Let's see. Gary, do you have stock in a grocery store? I wish. There's a lot of things I wish I had stock in. Sad. Becky, I told my son an ice storm may be coming, but all he asked is if we would get him any days out of school. Good kid. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Marlowe to Stillwater Friday. What do you think? Friday? That's probably not the best idea. If you got to go anywhere on Friday at this point in time and just in your plans, I think the early morning the better. Every hour after the early morning hours, we're in that risk of a window. It's just a matter of the Arctic air getting just thick enough in here, spilling down southward just enough to change the rain that's going to be falling already over to freezing rain and sleet. So keep that in mind. Again, this is Sunday, last I checked. Cheryl wants to know, traveling Friday or Saturday. If you want to travel from your front door to your mailbox, Cheryl, you're in good shape. Outside of that, not sure what to say to you. Let's see. Somebody wants some more recap. Let's see. I'm going to PM my boss's number. You can call him and tell him we need to be closed. Okay, thanks. You got it, Megan. Let's see. Can you over your maps and data again, Kyle? Kyle and everyone else that's asking for a recap, at the end of this, once we stop here in a couple minutes, you can go back and press play on the live video, and you can then drag your cursor to wherever you want it on the video for the recap. What I do in the whole deal is I give you a brief synopsis at the beginning. I'll show you some of the models where the storm system is according to them, and then I go to the output of the where the precipitation stuff is. So that's kind of how I break it all down. So if you want all the details for that, but since a couple of you asked and a couple of you are still chiming in here late, let's do another recap for you. And let me go back to the maps here, and I'm going to do it a different way. So where am I? Give me a second here. Let me pick a map that's going to be dry. Let's see, do I want? Hold on. Let's do this. Okay. Alright. So, actually, I don't like that one. Let's do this one. Okay, let's do this map. I know you guys are still asking questions, but unfortunately I can't read and navigate at the same time. Okay, so if I were to draw these nice pretty little lines and stuff on you, I would draw the sleet and freezing rain line at this point in time, today, the way things look. Here for southern Missouri, through northwest Arkansas, probably to around McAllister, to down east around Murray, east of Ardmore, south down here, cutting Dallas-Fort Worth right down the middle, back into the hill country of Texas, I-35. That would be the freezing line. Over here is just going to be rain. And even some storms. Let me get my pen. Now, if I were to tell you where again, this is the freezing line, this blue line. So this means in this area here, let me tell you what, the boundary, I'm going to say something like this. Okay, so initially, the only thing really to worry about out here is just snow, and that doesn't come in until later. I think for the most part, it's between this band here, in this area, that is where the meat of the storm system is going to affect. In that particular case, we're just talking about sleet, and this is fun, writing upwards. You like this penmanship? Freezing rain. I don't know if you can see that sideways. That was really bad. Anyway, I could just wrote that like normal. So sleet and freezing rain in this corridor, snow in the northwest and rain in the southeast. And this is going to be roughly from Friday, late morning. So we'll just average it out to noon through Sunday at noon. And we'll just call it that for good. And that'll be the general consensus, the general trend, everything in a nutshell summed up for you. And so amounts are pretty significant. Too early to give you exact detailed amounts, but you get the idea. Okay. More shirt comments. Man, you guys hating on my Aggies. It's wrong. Wrong, I say. All right. Wendy, I just said when it started. Where were you 5 seconds ago? Oh. Let's see. There will be a lot of things closing probably Friday, depending on the timing of the system. Again, if it comes in after everything's already started and opened, well, that kind of messes things up. Or they might close ahead of time if it's going to be, guaranteed done deal, which would be my expectation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say thank you for stopping here at Facebook Live as we talked about 45 minutes over the weather for the upcoming winter storm. Glad you tuned in to AT's Weather. I appreciate you putting your trust and faith in me and what I do for you here, and just basically show you the data. I tell you what can be expected without all the hype, without all the drama, without all the nonsense that you see in other areas, walks of life. I think the weather is exciting enough on its own without the need for that nonsense. So that's what I do. And what's funny is even though I do it that way, people still say I hype the weather, which makes no sense to me. But a troll is a troll, and I just ignore them for the most part. But I'll be here for you throughout the week. Something significant changes, I'm going to let you know about it. Probably do a blog post or maybe a quick Facebook post. I do want to do another couple of Facebook Lives this week. More likely days would be probably Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening for sure, because we'll be within that 48-hour window where we start to see some precipitation estimates kind of come in. But since the total rain, sleet, snow stuff is over a prolonged period, I say a 48-hour window. Well, that typically means a 48-hour window of when the event ends. So that's not really going to apply in this case. So we're still going to have to do our best guess estimating. They won't be exact, but we'll see what we can do because it's going to be a long extended weekend for many of you. Many of you will take that time to travel, so I know that's important for you. All right, well, you can check out AT's Weather to Go if you haven't yet. That's my free mobile app, and if you like it, great. If you don't, just hit uninstall. It won't hurt my feelings, but I do appreciate you giving it a try though and getting real familiar with it. Make sure you play around with all the settings and menus and find all the hidden features. Think of it as finding Easter eggs or something, and especially when you're on the map. Go to that little icon stack in the lower left. Looks like papers. Just click on that, and that'll open up a whole slew of new data for you that you can click on. And I think you'll like that. And it also has custom push notifications for your kids in school and your other homes or your other places of business, whatever you want to do. So thanks again for that. And for Road Angel for sponsoring this, guys, check out Road Angel. It's in the app. If you ever need trouble on the side of if you ever need help on the side of the road, you find yourself in trouble, flat tire, stuck in the snow, ice, whatever it may be, help is just a button press away. So that's it. All right, guys, we appreciate your time, and we'll chat with you again soon.